Could the youngster from Georgia, who showed promise over the last 2 seasons, be the drought buster Team Honda has been looking for?
Jeff Emig goes to the outside. There's Ezra Lusk, number 3, takes the lead. He'll get the whole shot money. Here comes Jeremy McGrath. McGrath moves into second place with a clean move to the inside. The record number of fans here in Houston are seeing the checkers in the air for Ezra Lusk, who wins his 3rd career victory.
I got to keep a straight face here, because if I don't, I'll just start crying, because you guys just don't know what kind of road I've been down and what it's took to get here.
In only his 2nd race for the Red Riders, Ezra Lusk lived up to their hopes and dreams. From Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona, it's round 3 of the AMA Supercross Series. Hello, everyone. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs, and Barney Reed getting ready to bring you the action. Here's the qualifying procedure. The top 4 from each 2 qualifying heats get the first choices for the gate positions transferring to the main event. The rest of the field goes to the semifinals, where the top 5 from each of the 2 semis qualify for the main. Only one more shot at winning the big money. That's the LCQ. The top 2 from the last chance qualifier fill out the 20-rider field for the 250s.
So it's pretty cool. So we look forward to seeing more out of Jeff Matiasevich. Thanks, man. I just want to thank all the fans.
Great shot of Jeff Emig right there with his mechanic. Had a great race here last year. Won his heat, won the main event. Really turned things around for him after 2 lousy races in L.A.
Emig, Windham, Albertyn, Craig, Ward, Button, Lawrence, Ferry, just a few of the riders here in heat number 1, Marty Reed.
Absolutely, guys. And you know, the one thing that we noticed in the earlier practice sessions and in the heat races that we've seen so far, the whoop section seems to be the critical point. It seems like everybody's pretty much evenly matched on the jumps, but that whoop section is really treacherous. That could be the difference here in heat number 1.
After Houston, after Houston, Emig was just struggling through the whoops all day long. Went to the semi. Actually, was kind of glad he had to go to the semi, put more laps in on the track, and get that section dialed in, and came out with a 3rd place in the main.
Okay, the hearts are starting to pound now. The 32nd board hasn't gone up yet, Davey.
Yeah, I was just going down through the lineup, Art. One of the guys we're missing here is Sebastian Tortelli. Should have been in this qualifier. The guy who won the 1st round in Los Angeles is ranked 3rd in the point standings. He's out with an injury.
Yeah, during a practice session on the Kawasaki practice track, they did an MRI on his knee yesterday. They haven't operated yet. They're going to make a decision on that in about 10 days. They're hoping he will be back in time for the San Diego race and be well mended before he goes back to the GPs in Europe. The 32nd board is up. We're almost set for the first qualifying heat from Sun Devil Stadium here in Tempe, Arizona. We had a record-breaking crowd last year with the series returning to Tempe. And we're just about set for the action. There they go. It's Jeff Emig, number 1. Number 13 is Michael Craig, always a good hard-pack rider. But it's Emig who goes wide and gets the whole shot. Craig in 2nd position, Windham in 3rd. It's Albertyn in 4th, and a pack of riders after that.
I just saw Mike Craig use that hot line Marty was talking about. The whoops made the difference, and Craig immediately made the pass on Emig. He's already pulling away.
Amaranio is down in the whoop section. As we go back to the leaders now, it is Michael Craig out in front of Jeff Emig, and Windham is hounding Emig's rear tire.
Craig doing exactly what he needs to do, just attack right away, try to make your own luck, set the tone for the night. I saw him in the airport after Houston, and he just was sitting there going, I need to get a better start, and I thought I charged the pack pretty good. I came in, asked how I did, they said 11th. He goes 11th. Boy, the crowd at the riders are so deep this year. It's amazing.
Local favorite Jimmy Button has moved into 4th, so it's Craig, Emig, Windham, Button, and Phil Lawrence.
Yeah, another thing about what you were saying, David, this is very important for Michael Craig and his whole Honda Detroit team. They've started out in the wrong gear here in the 250 class, and I know that even a heat race win would be a good mental victory for those guys.
This is perfect, though, for Mike Craig. His one Supercross win came in Tampa, and it looked a little bit hard-packed just like this, David Bailey.
Exactly. I think this soil is probably a lot like what he rides on all week. Most of the practice tracks are. These guys are all pretty comfortable, but Craig really shines when it gets slick like this, and it's going to get a little bit tougher through the night.
There you see Windham number 8 and Jimmy Button number 11. Jimmy in his hometown here in Phoenix. What a fairy tale it would be for him to gain his first win here in Tempe, Arizona.
Yeah, it'd be a good thing to maybe beat Jeremy to the punch. You know, he's going to win some, but it'd be cool to win tomorrow night, and, you know, win in front of the hometown crowd. It'd be a great thing.
It's Craig, Emig, Windham, Button. Albertyn has moved into 5th position now. Only the top 4 will be going to the main event. Which top 4 will it be? The race to the checkers when we return. AMA Supercross is brought to you by Honda Motorcycles, the leader in on and off-road fun. Honda, come ride with us. And by Suzuki Motorcycles and ATVs. Now during Suzuki Fest 98, get $500 worth of accessories for free. And choose from great deals like 0 down or low APR financing on selected models. Welcome back. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs, and Marty Reed. We're in the thick of our first qualifying round. Michael Craig, Honda of Troy, is out in front, but we're watching the battle for second place. Kevin Windham, number 8, trying to test the defending champion, Jeff Emig. Oh, it looks good. Looks like we're going to have some great racing here this evening in Tempe, Arizona. The crowd is still actually filing in.
It's a fast pace out front. Craig has still been able to maintain his distance. Look at Windham.
Here comes Windham in the whoops. Jeff Emig just powers by him into the corner.
That's what happened in practice earlier. Emig got in a battle with Ezra Lusk in practice.
Windham and Button. Windham of Team Yamaha and Button with Chaparral Yamaha.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that all night. It seems like either go fast in the first part of the whoops or fast at the end. The guy who can tie it the whole way through is going to do it. You saw that time. Emig was slow in the beginning, but in the end he wicked it up and made the pass. The guy who can string the whole thing together is going to be the favorite.
53-second lap times, guys.
It's about what they were running in practice. Right now, there's a few things different about the track. It's a little slicker than it was earlier.
The Button is coming alive. The fans are just out of their seats watching their hometown hero, Marty Reed.
Jimmy Button, since he has joined up with Jeremy McGrath, these guys have been riding with Kevin Windham, the other Yamaha factory riders, and it has really stepped up his program. He is going for second place.
Look at this! He got to the outside, and Emig had the angle for the black pass.
He was really smart there to keep it up on 2 wheels because he didn't have much room up in that powder by the hay bales. So Emig closed him out.
Emig starting to use the track on Jimmy Button now. Emig in second place. Here comes Jimmy Button. As they head for the finish line, John Button settles back with Windham right behind him.
The fact that these guys are all over Emig.
Oh, look at that! Button is coming alive.
Well, these guys were putting so much pressure on Emig, forcing him to ride defensive. That was allowing Mike Craig to start to ride a little bit more relaxed and pull away. See if Button can close that gap now.
Jimmy Button is the only Chaparral rider to get on a podium. He took a 3rd in Minneapolis, and that was the race, you might remember, that Jeremy McGrath won his first victory last year. Here comes Windham. He puts the challenge to Jeff Emig as well.
Yeah, like Davey said, though, Emig is faster at the end of that. I was about to point out earlier that in practice, Emig and Lusk got in a real battle, about 5 laps of duking it out, and Lusk was faster through the whoops, but Emig was fast enough just at the end to maintain that position.
A new name has popped into 5th place, Tim Ferry. Way out in front now, Michael Craig is on cruise control here in our opening qualifying round.
Yeah, I'm watching Emig. He's riding defensively, especially going down through those whoops, but you know what? He's not afraid to put somebody in the wall. That guy's pretty good at using 100% of the track.
Well, if this was for the final transfer spot, he wouldn't be as polite through there, and he would do whatever it would take. Still, Windham is right there within striking distance. We may see some of that aggression from Emig, and for Suzuki, it's not looking good. Both Larry Ward and Albertyn are going to have to go to the semi unless they make something happen.
Let's see if Emig can pop out of those whoops like he did before. Windham's got the inside advantage, though. Here comes Emig. Oh, my goodness. And these 4 are in good position to qualify. They certainly don't want to go down. Kevin Windham moving into third. Jeff Emig in fourth.
What Emig has to do right here is just realize it's only the heat race. The leaders are just right up there ahead of me. There's only a lap to go. I'm still in it. I can still make some adjustments, ride a little bit better in the main event. Remember last week, Emig didn't look good all night. The main event, he came through when it counted.
White flag lap. Tim Ferry is 2.5 seconds in back of Emig. I don't think you'll be able to catch him unless Emig should have some problems. So it's Mickael Craig, number 13. Boy, it was breakthrough time for Mickael.
He did just what he needed to do. Sometimes that first lap or just the start can make all the difference in your night. What a great way to start off.
Windham hasn't given up, trying to take on Jimmy Button.
You know what, Ferry just passed Jeff Emig in the whoops. Emig has got to do something, but he just lost the qualifying spot.
Emig looks like he'll have to go to the semifinals if he cannot catch up with Tim Ferry. This is a remarkable development. Tim Ferry, no lean Yamaha, did not qualify in the first round in Los Angeles. The checkers. Craig, Button, Windham, and Ferry don't have to go on to the semifinals. They will be rusting it out as the rest of the field takes on the semifinal round. So Emig, Albertyn, Lawrence, and Ward are forced to go to the semis out of our first qualifying heat. Oh, that sets up a great match. We'll be right back in a moment.
Before life passes you by.
4 of these riders going on to the main event. Mickael Craig, Jimmy Button, Kevin Windham, and Tim Ferry. 2 developments there. Jimmy Button, a local favorite, doing so well in second place. And the next development was Tim Ferry beating Jeff Emig out, sending Jeff Emig to the semifinals. And, of course, the big highlight is the winner, Mickael Craig. A breakthrough for Mickael winning this heat. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
You guys talked about it before the start of the race, Mike Craig, that this is your style of track. Boy, you proved him right.
Yeah, you know, I think the last 2 weekends I rode really good. I had a couple crashes, but still every lap I gave 110% last 2 weeks, and I said, you know, go out there and get a start like you used to, and it'll be easy. And I kind of did it that time. I made a couple mistakes, but my Honda Troy bike is working really good. I'm really happy right now.
We talked about the whoop section being the difference. Seems like you were able to handle it pretty well.
The whoop section pretty tough. I got Emig there. This is the stuff I grew up on. Hard pack, so whenever my bike starts sliding around, moving around, I think I'm pretty good with knowing what it's going to do.
We'll see you in the main.
Thank you.
Mickael Craig, who took an 8th in Los Angeles, an 11th in Houston. Honda of Troy has put himself in a pretty good position, Davey.
Yeah, you know what? He just made a pretty neat point there. He said that he kind of grew up on this stuff. You could take this track here in Phoenix, cut it out, stick it down there next to the 15 in Corona. This is the Pro Circuit practice track. The Yamaha track, the Honda track, they all look exactly like this. I think the guys from California, the guys who grew up in California, are going to have a pretty good advantage tonight.
In this second qualifying heat, it doesn't stop as far as competitive thrills are concerned. You've got Jeremy McGrath, the co-points leader. Ezra Lusk, last week's winner. Mike LaRocco, who's been a very hot rider, guys, lately.
He's riding better and better. He wasn't even happy with his result after last week. He was 4th. I thought that was pretty good. He carved his way from about a 7th or 8th place first lap ride. Worked his way all the way through the field. Felt like if he could have got around Kevin Windham a little bit sooner, he could have got up there and challenged McGrath. We'll see if he can do it here tonight.
We've got Pichon, Doug Henry, Huffman, Bollet, Michael Brown also in this particular heat, and Marty Reed, Ryan Hughes.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough heat, guys, and Ryan Hughes has got a big challenge. He is working on a very severe back injury, and it's been with him since the LA event. They don't really know what's wrong with him, but he cannot even bend over to tie his shoes. Now, he has got to finish in the top 4. Ron Wood, his mechanic, says if he doesn't qualify for the main and has to go through that semi-final heat, it could mean the difference between him being able to make it through the main and not making it at all.
Well, it was an outstanding run last week because he didn't practice all week long before Houston and then ran 16 laps in a podium spot. It was really a moral victory for him, Davey.
It had to feel good.
Yeah, I talked to Ryan a little bit about that, and he told me that just speed back up front, even for a little while, was so good for him, but it doesn't do anything to heal his back. He landed on his feet really hard right before the LA Supercross in a practice crash, excuse me, and it's been a long time healing for him.
He had a great race here last year with a last-minute surge, passing 2 riders to take the final spot on the podium. 3rd place, Mike LaRocco. I expect good things out of Mike tonight.
I'm just questioning how good he is on this hard, slick stuff. And we just talked about the guys that grew up in California. He certainly didn't. And
he likes the rough stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets good when it gets mushy and a lot of ruts out there. This will be a little different. Start makes a big difference, though.
Board is sideways. We're just about set for our second qualifying heat. Who will get the whole shot? In good position, Ezra Lusk, number 3. Inside is McGrath. McGrath in second place, noses out. He's number 2.
Boy, this is a psychological battle right here through the whoops. Who will get through there quicker?
McGrath said, I've got to be more aggressive early in the race.
Well, that's a statement, Art, because Lusk, so far this year, has been the fastest guy through the whoops. Everyone's going, oh, did you see that Honda get through there? Lusk has got him dialed. McGrath has passed him through there.
Might be interesting to see, too. We've got the 4-stroke in 3rd. How does this 4-stroke work on the hard pack? Doug Henry is right there, number 19.
Man, we saw that in Las Vegas last year at the last race. Again, this track looks exactly like that. If Doug Henry's going to have like a best-case scenario on that 4-stroke, it's tonight.
Okay, McGrath being challenged by Ezra Lusk. Doug Henry's being challenged by Damon Huffman in 4th place.
Boy, this is going to be a great battle because Jeremy's not going to back down. Lusk is aggressive, already going in there for the block pass. We'll see a lot of that tonight because all the corners are wide open.
Mike LaRocco and Mike Brown are on the bubble. They're back in 5th. Here we go for the battle. The pass. Doug Henry in 3rd. Look at this.
Yeah, all the talk has been Lusk through the whoops. And
number 15 on the Kawasaki is Damon Huffman. Huffman moving back into 3rd. Back and forth we go.
Jeremy is holding his own through the whoops. That's the one place out here where these guys do separate because all the triples through the corners, even though you see different lines, you don't see much of a fluctuation in the gap. Through the whoops is all the difference.
So David Bailey, right now, Jeremy McGrath, he doesn't show Ezra a thing, does he?
I think he shows him some speed. I think he shows him that he can pull away, and that'll just send Lusk back to the truck, wondering what he's got to do to go any faster when he's already trying as hard as he can.
Ezra got a face full at that.
Yeah, we just saw a line there that Jeremy used, and it's one of those things where you don't want to pull all your tricks out, but at the same time, you got to do what you got to do to stay ahead.
McGrath starting to pull a lead now on Ezra Lusk as we take a look at 3rd place. LaRocco and Brown are battling it out, but they're outside the top 4. Only the top 4 making it to the main event out of this qualifying heat.
Going back to what Marty was talking about before the race, Rhino is 8th place right now. That doesn't bode well for Kawasaki.
The guys he's got to pass to get into qualifying position, and that's not going to be easy either. It looks like here, unless he gets real lucky, he's going to have to go to the semi.
Jeremy McGrath leads our second qualifying heat. Can he hold on for top honors? Catch the finish when we get back. Welcome back to the second qualifying heat. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs, and Marty Reed down on the floor of the stadium as we check out Damon Huffman, number 15, battling it out in 3rd. It's McGrath, Lusk, Huffman, and Henry, our top 4, with LaRocco and Brown trying to get up.
Well, McGrath is the fastest rider on the track. The second fastest guy is Huffman right now. He's starting to close just a little bit on Lusk. A few more laps at this pace. It looks like Huffman will be able to put the pressure on Ezra.
Mike LaRocco is starting to pick up things on Doug Henry as they near the finish line jump. Here's Damon Huffman firing over. He's all alone.
Now he can see just up ahead of him. Lusk just coming out of that corner. He knows he's gaining just a little bit.
Boy, that 4-stroke has good power on the straightaway. And here's Jeremy McGrath, our leader in the second qualifying heat.
You know what he's doing, Art, is he's entering that loop section faster. He's just going in there with more confidence. I was talking with DeCoster. He said the Suzuki guys were having a little bit of trouble getting through there tonight. The fact is you have to commit. And at Suzuki, you got Pichon, who's still hurting a little bit. Albie's trying to stay healthy till the outdoors. And Larry Ward's down on confidence a little bit. So if you don't commit through there, you can't maintain that momentum.
Could this be the night for Jeremy McGrath's 46th career Supercross victory? Henry.
Yeah, I'm watching LaRocco get closer and closer to Henry, but Henry seems to get him a little further in the whoops each time. You know, again, it's one of those things that four-stroke really goes well at. Whoops.
LaRocco, where does he pick up the time, David Bailey? In the straightaway, it's not right now where they are. The straightaway, the four-stroke takes a little bit of advantage.
Well, what you can do is, when you're behind a rider, you can use whatever line you want. We saw coming out of the corner of the finish line, Henry had kind of an odd inside line to protect that in case LaRocco got close enough. Whoa, a little bobble there, but you can use that momentum coming off the berm, use all that speed coming off of there, get a little bit more of a drive down the straightaway and try to charge into the next corner a little bit harder.
I haven't seen LaRocco run with such confidence and look like he's having so much fun in a long time, Davey.
You know, another one of the things that Mike's got going for him right now, he really feels like everyone forgot about him. He's riding with that, not a chip on his shoulder, but he's really got something to prove. And you know, in any kind of sport, right here he's going to try the inside.
Yeah, almost got him.
Yeah, LaRocco's riding to prove something, and that is a dangerous thing to give a guy who's got 2 national championships.
That's what I was talking about right there. Yeah, Henry's got to ride defensive and take that sort of unorthodox inside line, which is not as fast as what LaRocco's able to capitalize by going wide, get the drive off that berm.
Let's see what happens in the whoops as LaRocco tries to get the edge, but a good block move by Henry, and Henry goes into the whoops first. Let's go to Marty Reed.
One of the things we haven't talked about, in fact, Doug Henry's been fighting the flu bug for a couple of weeks. He's starting to feel a little bit better. Stamina may come into play. He's getting a lot of pressure.
Here comes LaRocco, they're by the mire. The triple Mike LaRocco has the inside as they head into the right turn. Oh, look at the power out of that corner from Henry. Oh, they almost touched, almost rubbed. Plastic, white flag, final lap on the way.
You know, sections like that are excellent for close racing. You get staggered jumps, and here comes Henry. Another aggressive move. Look at these guys.
Oh, great heat qualifying racing.
And Ryan Hughes just closed up to the back tire, both these guys on the final lap. Now you see Ryan just entering the corner. These guys are racing with each other so much and trying to be so defensive. That's to the advantage of Rhino to move up a spot or maybe 2.
It's McGrath, Lusk, Huffman, and the battle for the final move, the final transfer to the main event right here between number 5, Mike LaRocco on the Factory Connection Honda, and Doug Henry on the 4-stroke Yamaha. Henry the block pass, back and forth we go. Ryan Hughes is right behind him. Should anything happen, the checker's flag for Jeremy McGrath.
The last corner will get interesting between LaRocco and Henry, and Hughes is right there to take advantage.
Henry moving in. He's got the power out of there. And the checkers for Doug Henry. So it's McGrath, Lusk, Huffman, and Henry going to the main event, and we'll be back with more action. And, of course, some very interesting comments as Marty Reed goes over to the winner's podium. Back in a moment. Welcome back to Sun Devil Stadium, and boy, the heat action was just fabulous. Out of heat 2, Jeremy McGrath making a statement. Ezra Lusk taking a very cool second. Damon Huffman pretty much alone all the way in third, but Doug Henry had to battle his heart out to pick off the final qualifying spot as Mike LaRocco was just hounding him all the way back and forth and went. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Taking a look at the back tire, that power, Jeremy McGrath. Look at this smile. I mean, they said up top, you just made a statement. You told me before tonight you're having more fun than you had since 2 years ago.
Well, I tell you guys what, you know, last year was a different year for me, and this year has been a really good year so far. We've prepared well. Everyone at Yamaha and Chaparral has been a big help, and I mean, I'm just getting comfortable, and I hope I can go out there and do the same thing tonight.
The whoops have been very technical. You flew through those. You flew over the triples. I mean, this looked like the Jeremy McGrath of 2 years ago. Did it feel like it to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my bike was working really well. The track suits me. It's just really hard packed, just like home. And, you know, there's not a lot of differences out there, so you got to be really fast in certain spots. And I think my bike is really working through the whoops, and that's going to play a big role tonight.
You confident, strong enough to predict victory in the main?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
There you got it, guys.
Well, that sounds like a confident McGrath.
It really does, especially after taking last week's winner, Ezra Lusk, as we take a look at the schedule coming up for Supercross. And, of course, seeing it in person is quite another matter. Not just exciting on television. It is twice as exciting when you see it in person, as we will head to the Pacific Northwest next, then go south to San Diego. It's up to Indy, Atlanta. February 28th, we go to Tampa, Daytona, New Orleans, Minneapolis, St. Louis. And then on April 4th, it's Pontiac, and then on to Charlotte, Dallas, and Las Vegas, ending the series on May 2nd. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs after some unbelievable qualifying in the heat action. David Bailey, McGrath, we mentioned, he made a statement, and he certainly did in that qualifying heat.
Well, he has been riding good, but the talk has really been that Lusk is the fastest guy out there, especially in the whoops. McGrath passed him right away through the whoops. That makes a statement. Has to say Lusk passed that Honda semi going, what am I going to do to answer to that? And I think McGrath just looks a little bit better and better. I thought that he might be sort of had reached his peak, and Emig might have more under the hood, but Emig's got to go to the semi. McGrath is looking perfect tonight.
Yeah, both McGrath and Emig tied for the points lead coming into this main event. And Davey, as good as McGrath looked, Emig did not look good.
Yeah, that's right. I got to tell you, the key to this track here tonight is going to be that whoop section, because there's not a lot of other places to pass. Jeff Emig was getting eaten alive through there. It's been a problem of his all year. And when you lose a qualifying spot like that to what's basically a privateer, Tim Ferry, man, he's going to have some problems in the main event. Maybe he can use that semi to work those whoops out.
So much close action for the bubble spot of who would go to the semis and who wouldn't go to the semis. I expect a lot of bar banging coming up, don't you guys?
More of the same, what we saw in the heat race. A lot of block passing in the corners because they're so wide open. It forces the guy to try to ride protective, and the guys from behind just come in there and take the line away and slam the rider in front of them.
The semifinals coming up next.
It's a great attempt by Jeremy to take the inside.
Here comes Jeremy again through the woods.
It's amazing. He went to the inside and still almost jumped the double.
McGrath in second place to challenge Jeff Emig, baby. What a battle. Jeremy McGrath takes his first lead of the season. Jeremy McGrath spun out in that sand, and Emig is now in first place. Jeff Emig takes round number 3.
Jeff Emig in Phoenix having a good time last year, David Bailey. It was a turnaround really to his season after a tough get-go in Los Angeles with the first 2 rounds. Jeff Emig put it all together to win not only the race, he got the whole shot and won the heat race. Tonight, it's a different story.
Absolutely different. Last year it went from bad to good. This year it's going from pretty good to pretty bad so far.
Let's take a break now and take a look at the track, the Suzuki track map, David.
Well, it's one of the longest starts we've seen so far. A big wide first corner. The guys getting through there careful. I think a little extra careful in the heat races. The main event will be a different story. Then into what we've seen, all the passing so far tonight, that long whoop section. A couple of tricky plateaus getting in there. Then a triple up there at the top of your screen. Another triple before the finish line, and not a very good long run at that. Then after you go over the finish, you actually make a left and go back across the starting line over there just below the corner after the whoops, and then through a long rhythm section. That's been taken a lot of different ways by the riders here tonight. And the corner at the end of that is where a lot of black passing has been going on.
As we're getting set for our first semifinal, we've got some terrific riders participating. Those not making it to the main event out of the initial qualifying heat. Jeff Emig, Greg Albertyn, Phil Lawrence, who had a pretty good practice session, and Larry Ward. What's happened to Larry Ward?
You know, I don't know. I made a comment about Honda Troy earlier, and I'll make it about Suzuki too. They really need something significant to happen for them. You know, this is January. A lot of momentum has built up here, and Suzuki just doesn't have it this year.
Jeff Emig, Greg Albertyn, Phil Lawrence, Larry Ward, Kyle Lewis, Sean Kalos. Just a few of the names at the starting gate as we wait And there is Lee McCullum, his mechanic, with the set of goggles.
You know, David just said something. I know from my days in racing, too. I'd see my brother come down to the starting gate when the card was like on the 30-second board was up, but you don't want to do that. This is a professional sport, and I hate to see that.
Let's go down to Marty Reed. Marty, you got a lot of action down there.
Just 2 quick notes. Larry Ward had that panicked look in his eyes. Also, Jeff Emig, they said he wasn't aggressive enough in the whoop section in the heat race, and he softened up the suspension. Look for him to be charging.
No. 30 board is up, and we're about set to get underway now for the first semifinal round. The top 5 riders, remember, get into the main event out of the semifinals. Only 5 more riders to advance. The board is sideways, and we've got a lot of names battling for those gate positions. Only 20 riders at the starting gate of the main. We are underway. And look at that Jeff Emig pull out. Number 1 on the Kawasaki, the defending champion of this race, the defending champion of the series, gets a big lead. Here comes Albertyn on the inside of the whoops, trying to get by the pack, and he slips through to the inside to move into second place. So Albertyn, after a so-so start, David Bailey, made a nice move, a muscle move.
That was very impressive because he got there to the starting line late, just as Larry Ward did. Had to start on the far outside. I thought that would be a horrible place to start because everything in that first corner is slippery. It all gets pushed to the outside. He came through great.
Kyle Lewis in third. What a nice run that is for Kyle. But back now in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, in 8th place is Larry Ward.
He had a great run into the first corner. He got closed out, but he tucked it right around the inside. Looked like he was going to come out about 3rd or 4th and just blew the whoop section. Guys went by him on both sides. Now he's got his work cut out just to make it out of this semi.
Already, Emig has got a 4-second lead as he goes into the whoops with Albie behind him. Lewis, Voss, and Kalos is the top 5.
See, Emig looked a little better through the whoops that time. Like I said, he's a smart rider, and he knows that he's got a rare opportunity, but unfortunately it's becoming not too rare because he did qualify directly last week in Houston either, but he's going to use it to work it out. Let's not just write him off yet.
Greg Albertyn, you see him on the Suzuki there on the right side of your screen. A 6th place in Los Angeles, a 9th place in Houston. But he has a new direction this year, David Bailey.
Well, he's trying to stay healthy, go out there, and if the results come, great. If they don't fight it. Don't try to push himself beyond his capabilities and go down and get hurt. We've seen that happen a couple of years in a row in Orlando, and then last year didn't go too good. Very inconsistent.
Coombs, he's looking for the Nationals, don't you think?
Yeah, of course he is. That's what Greg Albertyn's specialty is. You know, no matter how many times he comes over and works at it, it seems like something always goes wrong in Supercross, but Suzuki has to know that he is their best bet for 250 title. We see Larry Ward there fighting with Heath Voss, the privateer.
Larry Ward against Voss, number 46. Ward, not the good angle there. Phil Lawrence, number 24, right behind Larry Ward. So something happened. Larry Ward moves up a spot. You see Kyle Lewis, number 55. So Larry Ward is running well and has gotten some breaks.
Well, he's made them happen for himself. He's put himself in a good position. He's been aggressive. It looks like the way he's riding, the way he caught up to Lewis, he should be able to make that pass.
Okay.
There it is.
Emig is our leader, and we have to go 8 seconds back to Larry Ward as he moves into 3rd place. We'll be right back when the checkers fly here in our first semifinal round. Welcome back to Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. A great round of action already. 2 qualifying heats completed. We're in the first semifinal round right now with some big-name riders out front. Emig in 1st, Albertyn in 2nd. Larry Ward has moved into 3rd, and it is Lewis in 4th place.
He's starting to get some pressure now from Lawrence, who was together with Larry Ward in that first couple of laps. Ward broke free and moved up. Lawrence should have been able to see where he was making that move and just do the same thing.
So the top 5 riders would go to the main event out of this round, and look at that, sprawling down.
That was Kyle Lewis. He got that timing wrong there in that section, and what I think he did is he just handed the last qualifying spot back over to Heath Voss. Voss has missed the first 2 rounds of the series with strep throat of all things. Here we see a replay of the crash. He just junked the landing there, and he's going to the last chance.
That's a tricky section over there. They've got a small jump and a big one and another small one. It's tough to see it. Your timing has to be just right because in between those, it just comes down to a V, and it really takes a lot out of you when you get in there wrong.
The white flag for Jeff Emig. And Albertyn, number 7. Kyle Lewis, 18th in his first AMA Supercross of the year in Houston, is only warming up to go back to race in Japan.
You can see down that straightaway from Albertyn's perspective up to Emig, and that gap is getting smaller. It's the last lap. I don't think Emig's putting it all down there, but Albertyn is riding a lot better in the semi.
It looks like Suzuki's kind of pulled it out now after that kind of Keystone Cops beginning there. But you know what? Can't really blame Suzuki. We saw that earlier in the year. Ezra Lusk missed getting down to the starting gate at Los Angeles. So that's the third time we've seen that this year.
He got robbed there. That was due to the rain. The schedule was different. And
the checkers for Emig. So Jeff Emig now coming back, and Albertyn will cruise over in second. Larry Ward is in third. Phil Lawrence right behind Ward in fourth. And it looks like Keith Voss might get that final transfer spot to the main event. So all kinds of interesting things on the podium now for Marty Reed to talk about. We'll go to Marty right after these words. Welcome back to Tempe, Arizona. These 5 riders advancing to the main event: Jeff Emig, Greg Albertyn, Larry Ward, Phil Lawrence, and Heath Voss. Well, he benefited greatly from the crash from Kyle Lewis, bouncing himself out of the top 5. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, we're down here with Jeff Emig, and you're not smiling as much, but you did something that you needed to do. You were more aggressive through the whoop section, got the lead pulled away, but I get a sense that you're still not totally happy going into the main.
Well, I think my last lap of that semi-race was my best time through the whoops. I kept getting smoked by there. I kept having problems in the, in that heat race. So it, almost wasn't a bad thing that I finished 5th. Like I had to ride the semi because we got a chance. We went back to the Team Kawasaki truck. We made a couple of changes, and I think the last time I got through like I wanted to, I think I figured it out. I had an extra 6 or 8 laps there, to get the feel of the whoops, and prepare myself for the main.
I know you softened the suspension. Will you take it any softer, or will you go back a little stiffer for the main?
Well, I just getting a little bit of kicking in the rear, and the whoops are always, that's like the hardest part for me on the whole track. So, if I can start getting through the whoops a little better, then you'll see me up front in the main.
Guys, you got to go catch his breath. The main's just around the corner.
A bevy of stars still have not qualified. As we go to semifinal number 2, Mike LaRocco in the factory connection, along with Ryan Hughes, Michael Brown, Mickael Pichon, a Team Suzuki rider, Frederic Boulay, a Frenchman, and the Team Honda truck right now until Lammy gets back into action. Jean-Sebastien Roy, Robbie Skaggs, a lot of people hungry. Even Guy Cooper is set up in this one. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, I talked to Ron Woods, that's the mechanic for Ryan Hughes. I said, how's the guy? And he says his back is killing him. And I said, you really didn't want to do this? He says, no way, but this guy can still win this race. And remember 2 years ago at Charlotte when he did a face plant, broke his jaw, and finished the night of racing? If there is an Ironman in this sport, he's riding bike 10.
You see him right there on the end as the crowd anxiously awaits, and another great crowd here at Tempe, Arizona, Sun Devil Stadium. The series has been here twice before, and then before last year. This is the first time we've had back-to-back seasons, and they're off. Mike Brown, number 100, out in front. But does he get the whole shot? On the far side is Travis Hodges, 410, out in front of the whoop section. Travis Hodges. Hughes is right behind Michael Brown, number 100. Back in the pack is number 5, Mike LaRocco. LaRocco is dangerously back in the pack.
He'll have his work cut out, but he's right there. They're all in contact. As long as he doesn't make any big mistake, get caught up in a crash or something, he should be able to work his way into position, no problem. Hughes has got great position right there in third.
Michael Brown, our leader, number 100, has been reunited with Honda of Troy. And can he get another feather in the cap? for Phil Alderton's Honda of Troy team after we said what we said earlier.
Yeah, every one of those checkered flags are good. And you know, Mike Brown is a very fast Supercross rider. Always has been. But again, they say it's always been in his head in the 250 class. And, you know, maybe this is what he needs. But then again, this race isn't over yet. And right here we see Hughes is going to work Hodges to the whoops. No contest there on that factory bike.
No contest as Ryan Hughes moves into second place in front of Hodges.
Well, now Brown's going to look over his shoulder, and he's going to still see green, but one less digit. Hughes is a whole different rider than Travis Hodges, and will put the pressure on him, even in a semi.
Mickael Pichon is behind Hodges right now, trying to move up. There's Ron Wood, Hughes' mechanic, checking that stopwatch.
Now Hughes can see the split up to Brown. He can gauge what's going on behind him. Feet back.
Okay, it's Brown, Hughes, Hodges, Pichon, and LaRocco.
I got to ask him.
Top 5 go to the main event. You got to ask him what?
What the heck does feet back mean? I haven't seen that one yet.
I think he's telling him what to do in the whoops. I think he's telling him to get a little further back and let his legs soak up more of those whoops, because that's got to be where it's most painful for him.
There you see Ryan Hughes in second place. Can he hold on a second? We'll know in a moment.
PM2. Before life passes you by.
Welcome back to our second semifinal. It is Brown and Hughes, 1 and 2. Pichon has moved into third. Number 16, Mickael Pichon, after a hard rocking crash last week in Houston.
There's a great battle right here between LaRocco and Hodges. LaRocco got him, got the spot before the finish line jump. Hodges charged right back.
That's the kind of passing we've been expecting, guys.
That's the way it's going to be all night. You know, you can't have a lot of friends out there when you have a track this tight, but I think everyone expects that. That's not dirty riding, what we just saw Mike LaRocco do. That was just a good, solid, aggressive move.
And Hodges did it first. Actually, I think they're about even now. And LaRocco really, he got pushed into this semi from Henry. He kept doing it to him. LaRocco kept making the pass, and Henry kept block passing him back.
Back in the leaders now, Mike Brown, number 100, starting to get a little challenge from Ryan Hughes.
Look how slick it is. They get into these corners really working the front brake. It's important to use the front brake hard here. Obviously not too hard, let the front end wash out, but the harder you get on the front brake, the more stable you can keep you under braking. Imagine if the car you had only had rear brakes. Every time you put on the brakes, the rear end would skid around. That's what happens into all these corners.
You know, Hughes is trying a few different lines there on the whoops. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he exits that corner really tight, and whereas a lot of guys are pounding through, starting with their front wheel and just hitting every one of them, Hughes is trying to roll that corner and jump as far in as he can. You watch on the next lap, I'll bet he makes a stab to the lead.
Key is to stay close enough. If you got a good place out on the track where you believe you can make a pass, and that's what you want to stay close, so when you get there you have that opportunity.
Dean Baker, let's see what he has to say to Mike Brown out in front. Michael Brown, who raced in Europe last year. You can, 1 lap to go. Coming up.
And you got Ron Wood on with his pit board saying, do it. Both those riders can see what's going on out there.
It is the white flag lap.
This is a little bit of a psychological boost, I think, for Brown to be able to hold off Ryan Hughes and win this semi. Just to win a race. Doesn't matter if it's the last chance. Feels good to win. For Hughes, he's just probably happy to make it into the main event. Whether he wins this or not, I don't think it's going to be a big deal for him.
Hughes coming up near the rear tire as they go into the right turn. Mike Brown on the inside. Ryan Hughes to the outside. Ryan, I'd love to see those checkers right now. Getting close to the final turn. What's going to happen? Hughes puts himself out in front. Ryan Hughes takes the checkers and the final turn. Oh, my goodness gracious.
That's back to...
What a great move. Conservation, good position by Ryan Hughes, and then he made it count with the block pass in the final turn.
Again, we're going to see that all night long. You know what? That was just the most perfect move you can make. But you know what, David? That's one of those times you can only do that when no one else is behind you.
Right. If you try to do anything a little extra creative out there, you can get passed by the guy behind you, taking advantage. The way these corners are wide tonight really opens it up for a lot of different passes.
Hughes, Brown, Pichon, our top 3. 5 advance to the main event. We'll check the official finish when we come back.
Take everything you
you ever knew about...
Out of semifinal number 2, 2 great performances, really. Even though Ryan Hughes put the block pass on Michael Brown in the final turn, it was also a fine run from Mike Brown, who had a 13th in the opener and a 20th in Houston. So it's got to be a confidence boost for both guys as we go down to Marty Reed.
Well, we're down here with a very tired but a very happy Ryan Hughes, and you just told me you didn't see the white flag.
No, I don't think I got the white flag, so, you know, I was just going for a pass to win. Came across the finish line to check a flag. I'm like, oh my God, and then I slowed down and he kept going. I'm like, that's it, right? And I look back and check a flag. So I was like, well, that's the way it went.
I gotta ask you, how's your back?
Well, on the track, I don't really think about it. Last weekend I started cramping up halfway through the race, but man, when I get off the bike, it hurts. I mean, it's hard to sit down, and when I stretch, it's hard to get up. It's just, I don't know what's wrong. I gotta go see another doctor, and, you know, to me, it's something in the spine. You know, I don't know, it might be a cracked vertebrae or something, but it's not getting any better, so.
Well, he's got 20 more laps to go tonight, guys. The Iron Man of this sport. We talked about it before.
Boy, that's really difficult, not knowing what's wrong with you and having that pain persist through such an activity like Supercross. I don't know how he does it. As we take a look at next week's show, Seattle, February 7th on Saturday. It'll be 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 o'clock in the morning on the Pacific Coast. For round number 4, the future superstars, the 125 West region kickstarts next from Tempe, Arizona. While we were away, Kyle Lewis and Lance Smale came out of the LCQ, the last chance qualifier, in first and second place, and they'll fill the final 2 positions at the gate. So 20 riders are ready as far as the 250 main is concerned. And right now the parade lap is underway for the future superstars of the sport, the 125s. John Dowd, number 9, won the opener in Los Angeles, hit the podium in 3rd in Houston, and leads the 125 West points by only 6 points, ahead of last week's winner, David Vuillemin. Roncada, Pingree, and Brandis all close. They're in the top 5. So John Dowd goes into this race the points leader. But look out for Vuillemin. Last week's winner won his second 125 race last week. Last year, you might remember, he bested the field in Seattle. Running once again a limited schedule before going back to Europe.
I'm here just to take experience with American riders because they are more aggressive, and I'm here for training for World GP. My goal is not to be first in the championship.
David Vuillemin may be racing here just for the experience, but there are several American riders hoping he'd get to his GP contractual responsibilities a little earlier. The youngster from Marseille started like many of his American peers.
My father was a road racing, and he did like a Boulder in France, and 24 hours of Le Mans. It's a big race in France. And when I was 3, I go on a bike on a pit in a road. And but I begin motocross at 8. So, and after I did all the French championship.
Vuillemin told us he is his natural self on the track, but has tried to combine the talents of his 2 idols. He liked Bradshaw's aggressiveness and countryman Jean-Michel Bale's smooth lines.
Jean-Michel Bale was so technical on the bike, and I like that, to be smooth. And I like also the aggressivity of Damon Bradshaw in the past, in '92. So I think if you can be a little bit like Jean-Michel, a little bit like Damon, you can be a good rider.
To do so well in America so soon, David Vuillemin will no doubt have more than one ride awaiting him when he returns to the States with the points battle on his agenda. The Frenchman from Marseille, destined for stardom as we take a look at the Suzuki starting grid. Roncada, won his heat race, and so did number 111, Jeff Matiasevich and David Bailey. This is an interesting situation.
Well, it's interesting from my point of view because the way the track's laid out, we're seeing a lot of block passing. And if anybody can remember back to when Matiasevich was riding over here in the States full time, he and Bradshaw, a lot of riders going at him. Matiasevich has no conscience. He'll go in there and take you down, put you over the bales if he has to. He's got that look in his eye tonight. Marty said he saw him down there on the starting line, and he wants to win here. That little heat win was a boost of confidence for him.
The great crowd looking on. And Marty Reed, how has that track progressed?
Well, we've talked about it being hard pack all night long. Let's show you up close just how hard it's really getting. Take a look at this corner. The guys are coming in. That's rubber, folks. We're laying it down. These guys are really chewing this baby up, but it is holding up really well. This is some of the best dirt we've ever seen out in a desert atmosphere.
You know, we were watching the guys get ready there doing the parade lap, and I got to tell you, David Vuillemin won practice right there. While the other guys are out checking out the track and sampling, Vuillemin's doing heel clickers, playing up to the crowd. You know, he really doesn't have a lot of pressure on him.
Right now, the pressure is starting to mount as the 30-second board is up. The goggles are going on. Jeff Matiasevich, boy, did he twitch. He's shaking that head, getting ready. There's Dowdy, number 9, and Matiasevich right on his right side.
Most of the favorites are lined up to the inside. They know that first corner is going to get busy in there. The guy that goes in there and is probably the meanest is going to come out first.
Many of the riders shaving down the knobs on their tires so they can get more traction on this very, very slick track, and they're off. The 125 main is underway. Look at number 9, John Dowd. He'll get the whole shot money. And David Vuillemin is right there in second place. Vuillemin, who had such a great practice time today in timing this very difficult course. So it's Vuillemin along with John Dowd, and we already have a battle for first underway.
That battle for first has already got about 45, 50 yards over third. Amazing, this battle right here.
Nathan Ramsey and Roncada, two guys who have gotten mixed up. I mean, literally banged into each other in past races, are in third and fourth.
I tell you, this is the race that Vuillemin's been waiting for. He's trying to prove himself and prove what his quality is so he can get a job next year. He's got to show that he can beat Dowd. That's very important. Last week was a walkover for him, but Dowd got a bad start. No such problem tonight. We see Vuillemin taking different lines through there.
Ramsey trying to hold off Roncada coming down the inside. These guys have a lot of different lines through that. There you see some of the block passing and bumping.
And Vuillemin out in front of John Dowd. Vuillemin, can he win his second race in a row in the 125 West?
Man, he just motored down through those whoops. He looked like a 250 guy. Reminds me of Damon Huffman. He used to ride the 125 class. Looked better than 250 guys through there.
Matiasevich holding off a pack of riders right now. Didn't get the best start. He wheelied out of the gate, had to back off a little bit. That cost him dearly.
He's in fifth spot. Jeff Matiasevich, number 111. But he's got lots of time in our 15-lap main event for the 125. Vuillemin is pulling away from John Dowd. Of course, Vuillemin now isn't considered in the points race, really. I mean, he's going to get points for it. As you see the battle, Ryan Huffman, number 28, and number 111, Jeff Matiasevich.
What set that up was Huffman blew it coming out of the corner after the finish line jump. Matiasevich got a good run out of there, out horsepowered him, and just moved over, took the line away. It's going to be a lot of blocking tonight to protect your line and a lot of block passing to try to pick up a position.
So it's Vuillemin, Dowd, Roncada, and Jeff Matiasevich, the top four.
Vuillemin already starting to pull away out front to stay on this battle. It's so hard for a rider to break away. You have to ride so defensive. Now you can see that as Matiasevich comes through that section, you can look over right next to him, see the leaders going around another section of the track. Very demoralizing.
The 125s continue from the hard pack at Sun Devil Stadium when we return. AMA Supercross is being brought to you by Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. Quality training for the motorcycle industry.
Just not giving in to the oral Kevin Windham. He tries to block him in the corner and can't quite as Windham slips the screen.
Windham is so good on a flat corner. If he wasn't, Roncada would have made that pass.
As Kevin Windham starts to pull a little lead, let's go back a little bit now to third place. Brandis, number 33, is getting a heck of a challenge from 24. Look at Robbie Reynard, just cleanly sweeps by him now on the triple. The checkers for Kevin Windham, and a great ride for this young man, an Eastern 125 rider, Stephane Roncada. Giving a high five to Kevin Windham. He's got to be a very thrilled young man. Robbie Reynard will place on the podium in third. Welcome back to Sun Devil Stadium. Our leader, number 934. Don't let the number confuse you. He won last week in Houston. He likes to be called David in Europe, but he's called David, he says. He wants to be called David here in America. David Vuillemin. Very impressive. John Dowd in second place. Roncada in third. Ryan Huffman is now in fourth with Jean Matiasevich as we rejoin the action in fifth.
Yeah, I've been watching Vuillemin trying to figure out what he's doing different than John Dowd. And one of the things he's doing is he's jumping down through the roofs. Right now we're looking at Matiasevich and Huffman bound over that fifth spot, going down across the start straight. But Vuillemin is actually jumping through the whoops, whereas everyone else seems to be pounding through them.
Here's the battle once again as we go back to Huffman and Matiasevich. Ryan Huffman, number 28, on the Suzuki, battling with Jeff Matiasevich. Matiasevich, and Huffman gets his rear tire tipped that time by Ramsey.
Oh, I think he got hurt on that one, too. He's not looking at the bike. He's in pain. We'll see if we can take another look exactly what happened there. Watch his foot. Yep, he got his foot tagged right there by...
It was Ramsey.
Yeah, Ramsey coming in trying to make that pass. That's too bad. He was starting to pick up the pace, putting a lot of pressure back on Matiasevich. Thought he might be able to get around him, but it's over for him now.
Pingree moving into sixth spot behind Ramsey. Matiasevich. It's Vuillemin, Dowd, and Roncada in the top three. Vuillemin, number 934.
Here's what I'm talking about. See how he's jumping through the whoops? Everyone else kind of machine guns it through it, touches on every whoop. Vuillemin is jumping through. Now, that's pretty unorthodox. On a 125, if you're tall, you can do that.
He had an easy, smooth ride in Houston, gentlemen, for his second career 125 victory, his first victory of this year. He won Seattle last year, had 2 seconds, one in Los Angeles and one in Minnesota. He had the flu in the opening round and took a 7th place in Los Angeles this year.
His corner speed is really impressive, and that's what is so critical tonight. See Dowd there exiting that corner at the finish line. He's behind that entire straightaway to Vuillemin now. It hasn't been that long since Vuillemin took over the lead, and already you can see from Dowd's point of view how far behind he's dropped.
John Dowd in second place, and we don't have very many laps remaining.
He's riding good. I mean, he's doing extremely well through the whoops. He's strong. Little bobble there, but still didn't really lose much time. And he's just dropping time to Vuillemin. So that is not saying that Dowd isn't riding well tonight, because he is just smoking Roncada, who I thought looked great in practice and certainly looked like he was going to win Houston until he got a little over anxious. And Vuillemin's pulling away from all of them.
Guys, the Los Angeles track was really his personal order with the dampness in the air and the roughness of the track. He's a tough, strong finisher, and his win in Los Angeles was right up his alley.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Dowd do well at some of the other tracks where it starts getting rutted. The track gets softer. Not that he's not doing well here. He's maintaining his points lead, but...
Matiasevich is starting to get a challenge for his 4th position. Ramsey, as we take a look at the Honda stopwatch, and starts tripping by about a 4-second lead on Dowd.
That's Eric Vallejo right there. He's been lapped. Now here comes Roncada. Look at it. He's going to be 12, 14 seconds behind there, but he's all by himself.
Roncada is starting to use a lot of the same style, David, you pointed out with Vuillemin. He's jumping through there tonight, starting to time the whoops better.
Here's the battle. Ramsey on the inside of the whoops against Matiasevich.
They're having a good battle, but the bad news is they're nowhere near the leaders.
And David Pingree behind them. Out in the left corner, you see Ramsey makes the pass on Jeff Matiasevich.
Seems like if you can get up next to a guy and position yourself on the inside in the upcoming corner, just out-jump him on something. Even if you've got to go out and jump all the way to the flat, as long as you beat him into the corner, you can make the pass.
Yeah, it looks like Ramsey might have been inspired by getting the kitty wheels put on his bike.
I'll tell you what, we just saw Vuillemin pull a 54.6 there. And guys, I can ask you this question. John Dowd, the oldest guy out there, he's a veteran rider. You take Dowd out of the equation. We got two French guys just spanking the Americans. What is going on in France? They're turning out so many good Supercross riders now.
And it'd be different if they lived together or practiced at the same track, but they come from different parts of France.
And they're very, very competitive with one another. You don't get that Corona spirit where there's a lot of cooperation. Vuillemin and Roncada, they might be in the same pits together, but they probably talk less than any of the Americans do.
Well, while we're on that subject, I thought it was pretty neat that these guys come over here and learn English so fast. There aren't many Americans that go over and learn French.
So Vuillemin is our leader as we take a look at the Suzuki field summary with John Dowd safely tucked into second, Roncada third, Ramsey and Matiasevich. Will this order change? We'll find out when we get back. With 5 laps to go in our 125 main, it's Vuillemin, Dowd, Roncada, Ramsey, Matiasevich, and Pingree. That is our top 6. This is our leader, number 934, David Vuillemin. Let's get out to Marty Reed.
Hey, Brian Barry, your man's an American meat and a French sandwich right now.
Yeah, well, let's hopefully you can put some mayo on it or something to pass these guys. And I don't know. Right now, Vuillemin's riding really good, so it's going to be tough.
It's holding at about 4 seconds margin a lap.
Yeah, it's pretty much been the same for a while now, and we need to close that up. This is his time. If he can do it, he's going to do it now. So we'll see what happens.
Guys, he always feels that his rider's stronger in that last third. We're into that stretch right now.
And the lapped riders will also start to play a part. Usually that it's in the favor of the guy in second, because by the time second comes around, they're already aware that the leaders are moving through, and they tend to get out of the way a little bit more. So that could be an advantage of Dowd. Doesn't always work that way, but I'm sure he's hoping for it.
John Dowd last year running in the 125 East. Had 2 wins last year, 2 wins the year before, and is looking for his second win here with Vuillemin way out in front.
Hey, just a note from earlier in the race, I'm seeing Ryan Huffman. He's up and walking around down the infield. They pushed his bike off for a minute there on that accident. It looked like he might have snapped his leg or something, but he's up walking around. So if you're a Ryan Huffman fan, we're going to have to look for him in Seattle next week.
Take a look at Vuillemin, the leader, working his way to the finish line jump. Pointed out last weekend in Houston, one of the taller 125 riders with a great style. He just sets the bike down wherever he wants it, gets traction wherever he wants it, takes whatever line he wants through the lapped riders.
Field summary might change.
That's Matiasevich. We just saw Matiasevich on the far side of the track. He did almost a Superman. He tried to triple that jump. He landed whenever Vuillemin comes around, might get a look at it, but it looks like Chicken is out. And man, the bad luck for Pro Circuit just continues.
Matiasevich still down on the course, shaking his head like, why did I do that?
And what a rude welcome back to the United States for Chicken.
7-second lead now for Vuillemin.
Obviously put his head down pretty hard. He lost his visor.
It doesn't look like he's hurt, though, thank goodness, as we take a look at Stephane Roncada in third behind Dowd and Vuillemin. Well, the top 3, the podium, pretty well defined right now, guys.
Well, this is actually the second podium Vuillemin's made, because like I said earlier, the guy pretty much won the parade lap doing heel clickers and stuff. David, is that one of the things that get you psyched up for a race, or is that just stupid?
I think that's a good psychological thing for some guys. Vuillemin obviously likes to go out there and get the crowd behind him, get really warmed up. I mean, you think about it, you go back in the pit and you sit there and you don't do anything really. And then you come out here and you've got to go 15 laps, hard as you can go, and that's just a little bit better transition for him.
Snell moving into 6th place as Ryan Huffman looks like he's got a rib injury there. Or he might be even holding his arm like he has a collarbone situation.
Yeah, it looked like it was his foot, but maybe...
let's go down to Marty right now.
Guys, I talked to him, and he said it's either my muscles right at the top of my chest area or my lower rib section. And he is heading off, and he is in very much discomfort.
Okay, we're on the white flag lap now, as Vuillemin already passed the finish line jump.
There'll be some heel clickers. This kid's got such a big lead. he's going to do everything he can to try to make it a little bit more exciting for the fans. He's made it boring enough so far. I think he's going to try to make up for that here on the triple.
Such a smooth rider. And I think all the French guys are super conscious of their image with the American public here and wanting to get the fans behind them, especially after they know Jean-Michel Bayle, one of Vuillemin's heroes, wasn't that kindly accepted by the American public.
Yeah, and you know, they've all been chasing the ghost of Bayle, but that's one thing they don't want to copy was his inability to communicate with the American fans.
Vuillemin making the final turn. The checkers are ready. The checkers are waving. David Vuillemin puts his hands in the air in victory. He has now captured his third 125 Supercross victory, his second victory in a row.
Well, it's not a heel clicker, but it's just about everything else.
Vuillemin, Dowd, Roncada will be on that podium, and we'll get on to Marty to hear from the Frenchman right after this. Welcome back to Sun Devil Stadium, and once again, the Frenchman from Marseille, David Vuillemin, wins his second consecutive 125 West victory. John Dowd hanging on to the points lead, with Stephane Roncada in third. Nathan Ramsey, a good finish for Ramsey, and David Pingree, another consistent finish for him, but they were way back of the leader. And let's go down to Marty Reed, who's with our winner.
David Vuillemin 2 for 2 here in a row, and very, very convincing, especially through the whoop section. I mean, you were flying him, everybody else is sort of stuttering over.
Yeah, I did a good start. I got second, and I didn't make a good heat race, so I was not so confident on a race. But now I took a good start, and after I did my race, and I passed John in 3 or 4 first lap, and after I make a little bit more, and I was the fastest, I think. So I win easy.
Your fellow countryman, Stephane Roncada, you're first and third. We were talking about it during the race. If Dowd isn't there, it's a French sweep, first and second. Why are you guys doing so well right now?
But we have a French championship in France, so I began racing with Stephane. Since maybe 10 years we are again together, so we did a good race, and that proves French can be faster, you know, and I think I'm very happy for us.
Well, guys, they proved they were faster tonight.
As we take a look at the Suzuki point standing, it is still John Dowd on top of the standings, but only by 3 points as Vuillemin shaved it down. Roncada, who's going to run the entire series, as opposed to Vuillemin, who has to leave for the GPs in Europe, is only 9 points in back of Dowd. So Roncada still very much in the hunt. The 125 celebration is going to run down as we get ready for what makes Supercross great. The 250 main event. Emig, McGrath, Lusk and Company coming up next. Hello, everybody. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs up top, Sun Devil Stadium as we get set for the 250 main. 2 races, 2 different winners so far. Now, if a third different winner wins this race, he should eventually win the championship. That was the script last year.
Well, it's looking like it could happen again this year. McGrath, it was picture of confidence tonight. He's riding flawless. There's some people the last couple of weeks who think that he's going to come back and win the championship. If the record stands true, then he'll do that, and it'll be a big boost for his confidence, just like it was for Emig last year.
And with this progressed throughout the season, Jeremy started out with a third in the opener, a second last week in Houston. He's due for a win. I mean, this is his kind of track. We saw him put the hurt on Ezra Lusk. We'll see how Lusk responds to that.
More than 50,000 fans here at Sun Devil Stadium. Another great crowd to watch round number 3 as we take a look at the Suzuki point standings right now. And we've got the tie at the top of the heap. It's Jeremy McGrath and Jeff Emig tied for the Suzuki points lead. A 3-way tie for 4th, a 3-way tie for 8th. Ezra Lusk winning last week. Oh, that was a happy day for Honda, breaking up their victory drought in only his second race with his new team.
I just learned so much about the bike in a short amount of time that it was really amazing that I was able to get all that together as quick as I did.
We've seen and heard about the difficulties of changing teams, but Ezra Lusk has made a quick and smooth transition. One of the keys is mechanic Mike Gosselaar.
It's like meeting somebody new and trying to figure out their personalities and what it's going to take to work with them, you know, what it's going to take to keep them happy and what they like.
I told him from the get-go, I was like, you know, you need to be straight up with me, be honest, be up front, and tell me how you feel about anything. You know, when we're testing, if you don't like what's going on, let me know.
He's real sensitive when it comes to a motorcycle setup, and he's just getting used to that. Having a guy that you can just change things a millimeter here or a little tiny adjustment there, and he can feel it, you know, and he can tell you when he just sits on the bike that you've changed something.
I think I'm really a thinker, and I know what feels good to me. I know what to work for me before, and I know how, when I test, I like to do things that I'm going to be in the race position or the race mode, you know, or race speed.
He's been ready to go for months, and he's kind of been so ready that he wanted to get this thing rolling long before this because he trained so hard, and he figures that going to Japan and doing well over there kind of woke up everybody, and he was worried that his competition was going to change their strategies or their work habits.
When I came over to these guys, I knew what I wanted. I knew I really, really wanted to, you know, really make a big step this year. So I was just, you know, up front and honest and just let everything I had hang out. So it happened, and it's working out great so far.
The 250 riders on their parade lap, David Bailey. Look at Jeff Emig as he peers down, and we see the Suzuki starting grid.
Well, he's just not riding around this track. He's checking out everything he can to try to improve his performance tonight. The same thing he did in Houston. He spent a lot of time looking at the whoop section, and it made a difference there for him.
The main event for the 250s, a 20-lap affair. Will we have a different winner for the third consecutive race? Let's go down to Marty Reed and check in with Marty.
Let's update you on 3 of our key contenders. Talk to Jeff Emig. They softened the rear suspension. They want to try and bring that kick out of it that they had in the semi and in the first heat. Ezra Lusk, all they did was change a set of Dunlops. They liked the setup on the bike. They just wanted him to be a little bit more aggressive. Then I went to Jeremy McGrath. I said, what'd you change? He said, absolutely nothing. I've been listening to rad music. I'm ready to go race.
They didn't have rap when you raced, David Bailey.
No rap, and I didn't miss it. Didn't need any rap to keep me motivated. I just did a lot of meditation, as a matter of fact. Listened to tapes and tried to picture the race exactly how I wanted it to go in my mind. Try to picture myself getting a great start and being safe and satisfied out there. It didn't always go exactly like I imagined in my mind, but it was one way to stay focused on the race. There's a lot of distractions at that level.
Jeremy McGrath now moves into the gate. You know, they've done a lot of work between races. Jeremy told us that mentally he's going back to 1993 when all he worried about was getting off that gate first.
I remember back in '93, when I first came onto the 250 scene, my main focus was to get a hole shot, get a good start. The rest of the race, I know how to ride. I mean, I know how to do all that part. The rest of the race will take care of itself. And it's a lot easier when you don't have to deal with the people in the back.
Jeff Emig, a winner last year right here in Phoenix. He just dominated everything last year after Jeremy went down. Didn't dominate things earlier.
They had a hard time coming out of the heat race directly, but again, same thing as Houston's. One thing about Jeff Emig, that guy can't be counted out. He's a good closer. He's always been solid. The longer the day goes on, the longer the season goes on. He gets better.
Can Ezra Lusk make it 2 in a row like Vuillemin did in the 125s? Lusk will be joined by McGrath, Craig, Button, Huffman, Windham, Henry, Ferry did a great job in qualifying. Emig, Hughes, Albertyn, Michael Brown, Larry Ward, Pichon, Lawrence, LaRocco, Heath, Voss, Jean-Sebastien Roy from Canada, Kyle Lewis, and Lance Smale. We've got a veteran lineup ready to go. As the board is sideways, it'll drop any minute. $1,500 for the whole shot winner. Oh, look at the charge. Who can it be? Michael Craig, number 13 to the inside. Emig crosses the line first, but Michael Craig gets the lead. So Emig will get the whole shot money. Michael Craig. Here comes Jeremy McGrath, just blazes by Emig. McGrath in second place.
Another super start for Craig. That's what he needed to get. And McGrath did a beautiful job to control the inside of that first corner. Not the greatest start. Very wise through there. And look at it. Got a great look at the lead right now.
Craig, McGrath, Henry, and Emig are battling it out for third. It is Jimmy Button in fourth, Ferry in fifth, Michael Brown in sixth.
If McGrath thinks he's going to win here tonight, he cannot wait. Craig can ride hard enough and keep McGrath back there. McGrath has got to attack and get around him any way he can right now, or it's going to be a long main event for him.
Can I tell you guys something? Right there, great pass by McGrath. Sorry, it was a bad time to cut in. Saw McGrath riding aggressive. Now he's going to run.
Jeremy McGrath takes over the lead from Honda Troy's Mickael Craig, I should say. So the Chaparral is out in front.
This is the McGrath of 1996. Get a decent start. If you can't get the whole shot, put yourself in position, attack right away. According to Skip Norfolk, run away and hide and let him race for second.
So concentrating on that very beginning portion of the race is starting to pay off for Jeremy McGrath. Mickael Craig not letting him off the hook is only 1 second back. Emig in third.
But the thing that McGrath has right now is just enough of a lead so that he can afford to take whatever line he wants. He doesn't have to ride defensive into all the corners. That's going to help him pull away.
Taking a look at the Suzuki field summary, McGrath, Craig, Emig, Lusk, and Henry, with Ferry moving into sixth place. I'm impressed with Ferry as we take a look at Jeremy McGrath starting to stretch it out a bit. Look at here. Ezra Lusk is starting to put the challenge to Jeff Emig. Good block pass.
That was exactly what we saw in the practice session earlier in the second practice. Emig only able to go for the double there. These guys got together, and I think they both felt like psychologically they won a battle. But
you know, Lusk having to make his move this early, though, because McGrath, the way he's pulling it out.
He knows he's got to get up there quick, or it's not going to happen.
There you see Mike Gosler, Lusk's mechanic, putting something down on the board right now. Let's check it out. 52, that's his lap time.
Yep, keep him focused on going fast. Lusk passed Emig in that corner where he made the pass in practice the same exact way, and I thought, I don't know if that's too smart. You're tipping your hand right there. Emig can cover that later on tonight.
With 17 laps to go, let's go to Davey Coombs.
I'll tell you what, I was taking a look at the back of the pack to watch what was going to happen, and actually Ryan Hughes fell, but guys, Suzuki's woes continue. Pichon and Albertyn and Ward are all like 15th or worse. I don't know what's going on there in the yellow truck, but just a horrible start to the main event here in Tempe.
Jeremy McGrath is pulling out a lead right now.
It's got to help him relax just a little bit. And I'm not saying that Craig is not of the caliber to be of a threat. He's won before, and he is going fast, won his heat race, but I don't think McGrath feels real threatened by Craig, so to have him back there sort of as a buffer right now.
McGrath 4.5 seconds in front of Craig. Lusk, Emig, and Huffman now going at it. Here's Emig, number 1, and Damon Huffman, his teammate, number 15, a winner in Atlanta last year.
Starting to climb that ladder a little bit. He's been riding fantastic. In fact, I was talking to Phil Lawrence a little bit, or Larry Ward, I should say, and Larry was just saying, think about Huffman. He's ridden fantastic so far. Still hasn't got a top 10 finish.
Just think of this, guys. If a teammate, Damon Huffman, gets in front of Emig, think of what that does to the points race. Not only does Jeremy McGrath possibly break the tie with a win here, but it would set Emig even further back. Craig still in second place, and Ezra Lusk has pulled up within about 5 bike lengths.
That's an interesting point, Art, the point situation. I think it's way too early in the season to see any kind of teamwork like that. McGrath just brilliant, getting into the corners, backing it in, accelerating out, hopping over everything. His timing looks great. Remember, he looked like this last year here, and then he made a bobble, went down, and cost him the win. So hopefully he can put that behind him and just focus, keep riding perfect laps.
The 50,225 fans are looking at a battle now for second place. Number 13 is Mickael Craig, Honda of Troy. Ezra Lusk, number 3 from Team Honda, is right behind him. This is the only battle right now.
It will be a battle, too. Lusk is not going to leave him alone. Craig is not easy to pass. McGrath attacked early, perhaps caught him a little bit off guard.
Can Lusk, after becoming the 14th rider to win on 2 different brands after his win last week, hold this position and get in front of Mickael Craig for a second place finish and possibly move up in the point standings? We'll find out after this message. We're back with the 250 main. Round 4 from Tempe, Arizona. Sun Devil Stadium. More than 50,000 fans watching McGrath, Craig, Lusk, and Emig. And right there, Lusk makes the move on Michael Craig.
Same place he got passed by, or the same place he passed Emig. A great place to make the move after the whoops are so tired going to that corner. You tend to relax a little bit, and that's where you attack.
But does he have the time to make up 5 seconds on a very, very tight Jeremy McGrath as we take another look?
Plenty of time left. Right there, you see nothing Craig could do there to retaliate. Just keep his balance, because he knew that exiting that corner, Lusk would be in the way. Just take his time right out there in third.
And here is our leader, Jeremy McGrath. Boy, that testing between races has really paid off for Jeremy, concentrating on the start.
One thing he's doing here that I really like, I've seen a little bit more and more of it in each round, is he's getting on the gas so early out of the corner. See how he backs that back in there, and there's not even any hesitation from being off the gas, off the brakes, and back to the throttle again.
As we look at the battle for fourth, Damon Huffman trying to pick up on Jeff Emig. Well, Jeremy McGrath has said that he's always been happy with the power in the chassis. It's just a little tweaking on the suspension that needed to be done.
Yeah, it seems like he's got that old rhythm back, that snap, or whatever you want to call it, the ability to just hit the smallest bump and get up over anything. He's riding with a lot more confidence than he has, I dare say, in the last 12 months.
I need to get some of that music. Whatever he's listening to, I want to hear some of that. Even
well, you had some memorable moments here in Phoenix.
Oh, God. We have to bring that up. I only rode here once, and it wasn't a good night. I think I irritated a few people on the way back to the hotel, too, in my rental car. It was not a good scene.
Well, unfortunately, it was a turning point for the season, really.
Yeah, it was. This place has done that for a lot of people's career. For Emig last year, and it might be the same for Jeremy tonight.
Here was last year's winner here in Phoenix, Arizona, near Tempe, I should say. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, we're down here watching Randy Lawrence right on here sprint and breathe, and his man is going to be coming around right by. As soon as he goes by, we'll get a chance to look at him, pointing to his head saying, think now, buddy, think. Randy? Let me ask you something. The guys were talking about, we talked with Jeremy, and he said he was listening to some music before the start of the race, and Bailey wants to know what the tune was, because it's really got him in rhythm.
I don't know exactly what it was. He really likes rap music, like Puff Daddy and the Notorious Big, so I'm sure it was one of them.
Okay, you want to hum a few bars for me?
No, not me.
Can you understand why this guy's got a smile on his face? His rider's well out in front.
He's riding fantastic, too.
Jeff Emig still holding off his teammate Damon Huffman as McGrath just continues to pull a lead. Will we have 3 different winners in the first 3 races of the season? Very similar to last year. 10 laps to go, so we're at the halfway point, David.
Yeah, right now we get a look at Jeff Emig and Damon Huffman riding together. Now, the thing I see happening here is they're going to push themselves up to Mike Craig, because I don't know what Mike Craig's shape is like or whatever, but in the past, he seems to have a lapse of concentration toward the end, so maybe if these two Kawasaki's start working together, they could reel in some points there by picking up Craig.
And with 10 laps to go, which is an eternity on a Supercross track, Ezra Lusk is shaving out some time Jeremy McGrath's lead. It's not over. McGrath is going to have to ride flawless from here on out. He's going to have to get the lucky breaks to all the lappers, because Lusk is gaining fast.
About a 5-second lead on Lusk right now as we take a look at the battle in back of them. McGrath, Lusk, Craig, Emig, Huffman, Henry, and LaRocco and Windham is now the official order.
Emig over the triple, Huffman right there. It's on a track where you've got to get real aggressive, be a little mean, unless you get a lucky break for the pass. I would be surprised to see Huffman go in there and park Emig up in the high berm somewhere. I think these two are just going to try to ride together and play off each other, push each other a little bit, try to catch Craig.
Ezra Lusk, outstanding focus. In fact, Cliff White, the 20-year veteran of Honda, compared him with Jeff Stanton's focus as far as practice and as far as race conditions? Let's get down to Marty.
Guys, you were talking about Ezra and the lead. The last 2 laps, it was 3.5 and then 3.2. And now Jeremy just goes by my position. Here comes Ezra Lusk. I can give you a quick look at my watch, and it's down to under 3 seconds, guys. He is closing.
So the young man who swept Osaka and Tokyo had a tough time starting this season in Los Angeles. As we take a look at the Honda stopwatch, is narrowing the lead.
You can see
Bill Lawrence, the lapper.
Long ways back.
Kyle Lewis, number 55, a lapper. Number 13 is Michael Craig in 3rd place. There's Emig and Huffman.
Pretty separated back to LaRocco coming through. Emig and Huffman still in their own little battle. I don't think they're going to do anything dumb with each other. The only place I can see that Huffman can make a pass clean will be through the whoops. He is a little bit faster there, not every lap. Sometimes if he stays close, he'll be able to make that move. Yeah,
Emig just barely holding on. Huffman has given him a great challenge.
If Huffman was on a different color motorcycle just then, that would have been a pass. Wouldn't have been pretty.
Check out the lap time, 52.9.
That's a good lap. That's about what they're running the heat races, but needs to be about a 51. Keep Lusk off of him.
That's it. Lusk is doing better than that. Damon Huffman trying everything he knows to move up the ladder and get by Emig.
Now, he just made a costly mistake right there. He needed to stay close, entering the whoop section. That's where he could make a pass, and he made a mistake right at the entrance of it.
You know, I take back what I said about Mike Craig earlier. He's riding very solid right now. And Emig and Huffman, again, they're really not pushing each other like I thought they were. Instead, they seem to be, you know, kind of jockeying for position. And Craig's looking pretty solid for that podium right now.
Taking a look at the Suzuki field summary, McGrath, Lusk, Craig in the podium spots, but Jeff Emig. And it should be Huffman, along with LaRocco. After Huffman, and Windham is following LaRocco.
Now look at this gap. McGrath coming out of the corner. Only got about a 2-second lead now on Lusk. He knows he's there. Here's a tough thing. When you're out in front leading, and it looked like McGrath was just going to run away with this, and you get in that mode, you feel like, okay, everything's clicking. I'm looking good. All of a sudden, this guy starts catching, and you've got to do something different and pick up the pace, and that is so hard to do.
Let's go down to Marty Reed. Marty.
Well, guys, we're down here waiting for Ezra Lusk to come by. You can see Mike Gosler, his mechanic. He's got the stopwatch running, and it is less than 2.5 seconds. Ezra is closing, and we've still got 5 laps to go. Goose, I know you want to watch your guy, but can you take a moment to tell us what's gotten into him, because he is really closing down here in the last half.
Yeah, I think he's staying pretty consistent. I think Jeremy just made a couple mistakes on the last lap, and he got a little bit of time on him.
You got enough time to win this thing?
We got 5 laps to go. We're going to wait and see.
He's got a little smile on his face.
He thinks, well, he's got nothing to lose, that's for sure. He's got a mile over 3rd and everything to gain.
I'll tell you one thing that's going to play into Lusk's hands is, remember this, they're lapped up to about the 12th place guy. The next guys in front of them, the guys they're going to lap are Albertyn, Ward, Brown, Pichon, Button. Those guys are not going to pull over for anybody. It doesn't matter whether they get the blue flag or not, and that's going to play into Lusk's hands.
Craig still in 3rd, but Emig and Huffman still battling it out for 4th.
Looks like Huffman is just being frustrated right here. I think he's riding a little bit better than Emig. There he goes up the inside. Emig's just going to, I thought he was going to let him have it.
It looks like they're dancing out there, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're just playing around, I think.
Well, believe me, they're trying everything they can, but these kinds of corners and the way you've got to ride and the way the block passing is taking place, I just never liked this kind of layout. I just never did well here, and I think especially Emig.
I was going to say you're a little prejudiced, though. Jean-Michel Vail loved it.
Yeah, well, there's guys that do, but it just doesn't look like Emig's comfortable out there.
Here we see McGrath coming up on those lap drivers I was telling you about. Now, let's see if
this might be a big factor, David.
Yeah, I'd like to see, like right here, you can see the 2 Suzukis getting together. Now, I don't think they're going to let McGrath by. Watch this. Lusk is going to pull right up.
Oh, baby.
See the blue flag waving, but I don't think those guys are paying attention because they're racing for points too.
That's absolutely right. With 3 laps to go, can Ezra Lusk pick up on Jeremy McGrath? Lusk now is about 6 bike lengths as they go through the whoops.
Whoa, Lusk all out of control, but he wants it bad.
He's hanging on. Ezra Lusk is putting his heart into it.
4 more top lap riders coming up. You see how good it did for Lusk that time. He's going to have Brown, and he's going to have Albertyn he's going to lap next.
Oh, adrenaline right now is at an all-time high. The crowd is into it. You can barely hear.
Albertyn, number 7. Mike Brown, number 100, as Jeremy McGrath has Ezra Lusk right on his back cover. And Ezra Lusk collides with Jeremy McGrath. The bump and run. That's what you got to expect on this track. Ezra Lusk has taken the lead from Jeremy McGrath. Here comes Jeremy right back in the timing section. Jeremy McGrath, Ezra Lusk. Ezra Lusk is out in front. Noses out. Will McGrath put it to him?
Yeah, he did.
Yes, sir. Turnabout's fair play, but Ezra slips it and now has a pretty good clear shot.
McGrath's got to run at the whoops. McGrath's been exiting the whoops fantastic that particular time through. Lusk got a great burst of power. If McGrath can't get any closer than this, he won't be able to do anything. He's got to get right there to take advantage of anything that...
Let's take another look at both of those passes now, and we'll keep you posted verbally.
Well, let's stop the finish line jump. The first one, Lusk, McGrath just left that door a little bit too far open. Lusk went in there. He looks back like, sorry, dude, I had to get in there and make the pass. McGrath right here, across the inside.
Boom! The white flag lap. Here comes Lusk and Jeremy. Bar to bar. Lusk trying to get around the lappers. Jeremy bar to bar with Lusk through the timing section. Lusk just barely noses out with good timing and good power.
Now right here, Lusk doesn't know what to do. It's a slow race through every corner because they've got to protect that line.
This is the final lap. Can Ezra Lusk make it 2 in a row? Can Jeremy McGrath win his first race of the season? Becoming only the second rider in Supercross history to make a win on 3 different brands. But Ezra Lusk now has the advantage. Let's check it out as they approach Albertyn now.
The last corner is going to be interesting. McGrath's got to get a little closer, but the last corner is wide open.
Ezra Lusk takes the inside line. The checkers for Ezra Lusk. Ezra Lusk winning his 4th career victory. His first ever back-to-back Supercross victory. Oh, my goodness. Last year's 2 wins, Orlando and Pontiac, separated by a 3rd in St. Louis. And look at there, Jeff Stanton, Mike Gosler. Is that a happy bunch? Ezra Lusk got here in Phoenix without his luggage. He had a 2-day growth beard. He actually looked older than he does with that baby face of his. He had to borrow knee braces to practice yesterday. Puts on the goggles. It's hard to contain him. And as high as Ezra Lusk is right now, I'm sure Jeremy McGrath, who takes over the points lead, quite possibly, I haven't added him up yet, Jeremy McGrath is probably extremely disappointed right about now after one of the great crowd-pleasing races of the year. We'll be right back. Marty Reed has the wonderful pleasure of talking with both these young men. As Jeremy McGrath, you see, great sportsmanship. He knows he's in the hunt. We'll be right back with their comments. Get $500 worth of accessories for free and choose from great deals like 0 down or low APR financing on selected models. Outstanding competition as we take a look at Jeremy McGrath, who was leading this race. Ezra Lusk made the important move, but the lappers became even more important. Lusk, the winner, McGrath second, Craig third, Emig fourth, Huffman fifth. Then it was Windham, LaRocco, Hughes, Pichon, and Button. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Down here with the winner, a very happy 2 times in a row. You realize you've gone from 16th place after round 1. You're now in 3rd place in the points. Nice ride.
Well, thanks a lot. You know, I want to thank the good Lord Jesus Christ for keeping me safe, first of all, and Honda and Dunlop and Fox for getting me out of that starting gate good, and, you know, I don't know what to say. I tried to ride as smooth and as smart as I can. I knew Jeremy was hauling Button his heat race, and we made a couple little changes, and I just tried to get my flow back. I wasn't flowing very good at all in the heat race, and I was able to catch Jeremy at the end of the race, and we were quite aggressive there at the end, but it was a lot of fun.
let's move over here. As you take the champagne, move over here and get Jeremy McGrath. And Jeremy, I got to tell you, I know you're not real happy with second place, but it was thrilling for all of us to watch, and the fans were literally jumping out of their seats.
Yeah, it was a really good race. Ezra rode a strong race. I mean, the lappers were terrible at this track, and I know he was catching me a little bit, but, you know, towards the end, the lappers weren't moving. They weren't obeying the flags, and, you know, I mean, there was a group of them ahead of me, and they were battling, but, you know, I was still in the lead, and they should have moved, and I think that probably attributed a little bit to my slowness towards the end. But, I mean, overall, I was fast all night. I felt really good, and have to just go get them next week.
Well, the bad news is to you, you know, you finished in second place. The good news is you got the points lead.
Yeah, that's the good part. I haven't had a points lead in the Supercross Series in over a year, and, I mean, I'm happy about that for sure.
And, guys, that could be a frightening thought if we think back 2 years ago.
Absolutely right. As we take a look at the Suzuki point standings, it is McGrath in first place, 4 points ahead of Jeff Emig, 64-60. Ezra Lusk moving up with 55 points into the third place spot as we take a look at the point standings.
Mike, a great start. Finished third, though. Just couldn't quite hold on with these guys. What was the difference in your mind out there?
I felt like the whoops was my point in my qualifier where I won. I could make a lot of time up there. And I was attacking them so hard that I was making so many mistakes. And I seen them coming. You know, they were right on me. So, you know, I got to kind of start. Last week I kept falling and falling. So